up, YouTube? It's RSMario, aka the Loot Box Hero. Check out the second channel. The second channel is popping. Got another video coming up there next couple days. AKA YouTube's greatest fat man here, bringing you another video. Alright, so we got the first Pokemon Legends ZA and assorted news video of the year of 2025. So of course, Happy New Year to y'all who didn't see my ranking video. I ranked all the legendary Pokemon. You can check that out if you want to. But if you didn't see that video, Happy New Year. How was your Christmas? Mine was pretty good. My New Year was pretty good too. So let's get on into this. We have a 4chan text dump in reference to the recent Riddler Khu leak. We also have more information from Riddler Khu coming up, possibly about Legends ZA, as well as possible 2 potential Legends ZA starter leaks. So that's going to be pretty interesting to talk about, as well as more on these the Super Nintendo Switch, aka Switch 2 leaks. I'm going to talk about the Joycon stuff. I'm going to talk about the motherboard controversy, all that kind of stuff, and much more today. Of course, if you want to continue getting videos like this from me, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, don't like something YouTube requires you to do to continue getting videos from me. Follow me on twitter.com/RSMario128. Like my video, tweet, share my video, tweet, and I will shout you out at this portion of the video, as well as drop a comment, because not only does the comments help the videos, the next news video, which should be Wednesday, knock on wood, I wanna read your comments on the show and answer your questions. So drop a comment if you want your question to get answered on the show. So let's get on into this. So the first thing we have is the 4chan text dump. 4chan text dump for Pokemon, well, not Pokemon Legends ZA. So this one was it just popped up recently. It says this was in reference to the Black and White Dolphin leak that Riddler Khu put out. It says Pokemon Scarlet Black and Violet White, developed by Namco Bandai and Ilka, after Legends ZA, but before Generation 10. So this will probably put it like 4th quarter 2025, maybe 1st quarter 2026, if this is true. All right. Because I'm thinking that Legends ZA is probably going to be a 2nd, 3rd quarter 2025 game. It's pseudo-sequel to Scarlet and Violet in a similar graphical style where the protagonist and their friends go to an open-world Unova. It's not a Legends game. Feel free to ask any questions. And of course, most of the rest of the post was just calling him gay and or retarded because it's on 4chan. So, to be honest, I actually think this is pretty cool. An idea of a not necessarily a Gen 5 remake, but like a Gen 5 like expansion for Scarlet and Violet would be pretty interesting. But I don't know if they will make that into its own game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially since this follows Scarlet and Violet. Like, are you going through the Black and White story just in a different time? Or is this like a completely different story? I think this will be better as like some sort of like expansion to Scarlet and Violet. But I'm interested. I'd play it. All right, would you play a Black and White Scarlet and Violet follow-up game? I would. So next we have Riddler Khu. So Riddler Khu posts several Pokemon here, and he says choose one. All right, so this is kind of an interesting kind of like riddle here, because we've got about 30 Pokemon here, and they're all different types of Pokemon. Some of them are shinies, most of them are humanoid, some of them are not. So interesting picks here. So right off the bat, I can tell you, like, you got shiny Grandivore, Florges, Salazzle, Machamp. So that all of them are shiny. So that maybe that's something special about them. You know what I'm saying? They could possibly be megas, or more than likely regionals, because like Grandivore already has a mega. You know what I'm saying? Mega Grandivore and Mega Gallade. So they already have megas. So I don't think they're gonna do that. Mega Florges would be kind of interesting. Same thing with Mega Machamp. You know, that would be pretty interesting. More than likely, these are going to be regional forms. because they are the same but different. Or maybe they'll do the convergence evolution. You know what I'm saying? They could do something like that. Alright, so the other thing I noticed on here, other than the shiny Pokemon, is there are only 3 starters on this entire list of 30 Pokemon. So that's the Sprigatito evolution, the Popplio evolution, and the Scorbunny evolution. So that means that maybe this is a hint that these are going to be the starters. I think that would be interesting if they went with this, because like we just had Scarlet and Violet. So turning around and giving this Pokemon a regional or a mega would be kind of crazy. Alright, especially when, you know, Quaxquaddle is right there, which could use some work. I'm gonna be honest, I love my boy Quaxley, but that Quaxquaddle is kind of, he's kind of there, you know what I'm saying? But this could be a hint at the starters. So far this would give us the starters, and it would give us possible regionals, possible megas, but more than likely regionals. Now the other Pokemon, I'm not even really sure like what they could get, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, again, they could be regionals, because I don't know if we're gonna get this many megas. Like if you take, oh wait a minute, there's another, I just realized this, there's another starter Pokemon here. There's the Fennekin evolution. So I just realized that I had this all prepared before this video. Damn. but yeah, this could possibly be a reference to starters or megas, or maybe even regionals. But I'm gonna lean with regionals and starters for right now. So then the other starter evolution leak or hint that we have comes from Mighty Ape. I believe this is some kind of like merchandise website that sells all kind of merch. So they had this like, you know, banner for Legends ZA, where they were basically selling Legends ZA, and they had Snivy, Fennekin, and Mudkip, which, to be honest, I'm saying that's kind of a clean line of starters. Alright, you know, that's kind of, I mean, that's kind of clean. Now, the only problem with this is, you know, Mudkip already has a mega, so there's no reason to give him another one. Alright, like Mudkip, like Swampert has a mega already, so there's no real reason to give him another one. Now, the only thing is, if maybe these evolutions will get regionals, like Legends Arceus, so we could be getting a regional Mudkip, which I'd take it, depending on what it is, you know, and especially, you know, Fennekin, like, they definitely need a regional, bro, because that evolution for him is also kind of oof. You know, now, of course, they took this banner down. I recently went to the, because I actually got this before I kind of went on break, but I went back to the site and they've taken this down, so maybe this could be a hint at what the starters were, or maybe they just changed the banner, you know. Alright, so we get into some of the other stories. You know, so one story that one game I haven't talked about in a while is Black Myth Wukong. So this is from back during the Game Awards, which is right before I went on break. So there was this story about Alana Pierce. So Alana Pierce was at the Game Awards. You know, at that point she was representing Sony. She worked for Sony. She recently left Sony due to some like family issues. She was working there, and she dropped this video about what was going on with Black Myth Wukong.
And I was in the front row this year. It was my first time being in the front row. I was like, wow, thanks, Jeff. Great seats. But being in the front row means that you can see all of the actually important people. So, like, next to me was the whole Sony team. Frankly, that's probably why they put me there, was because when they gave me the seat, I was with Sony. So I was with the Sony publishing team. Behind me was Joseph Faris. Just behind him was Sam Lake, both of whom I know and am very fond of. They're both really great dudes. But I could see all of the nominees and awards winners, and the Black Myth Wukong team, I don't know which person on the team, was crying when Astrobot got Game of the Year. Because you could see him just looking down the line, which is the first time I've ever seen anything like that, because generally everyone is like, Game Awards doesn't matter that much. But yeah, the Wukong team were crying when they did not win, which It was definitely unusual. Clearly meant a lot to them. They did an amazing thing. But I did find that surprising. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Did it look like celebratory crying? No, no, no. They were upset. Definitely upset.
And so she said that the Black Myth Wukong staff or somebody on staff was crying. They was bawling their eyes out because they didn't win. Now, I have my issues with Black Myth Wukong mainly because of things like some of the Chinese propaganda that was around it. I don't dislike the game at all. I actually think the game is really good. But I do think it's possible. I mean, because again, there seem to be really passionate people at that studio. And I can understand like why they would probably, feel pretty hurt or let down by not winning. You know what I'm saying? So I can kind of see that. Of course, a lot of people was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? They're disputing this claim. Like this tweet right here is basically saying that the Game Awards was rigged. A lot of peers witnessed them crying as Astrobot got the Game of the Year. Dude, didn't you get the message when your game was attacked because you were sexist? And it's like, I don't think that was it. I don't think Jeff Keighley cares about, people attacking the game because it was sexist. The thing is, as far as being a video game, like Astrobot technically was the best game of the year. Alright, because again, it's not like a M-rated, like, big, story-based narrative fighting thing. It's just a little game, which is basically the core of what video games are. Why do you think people love Mario so much? Alright, because it is just a game. There's some narrative there, there's some story there, there's some characters there, but for the most part, it's fun. And that's what Astrobot was. In a sea of like big narrative games and big AAA games and like big violent M-rated, violent games and games that like make you think and games that want to teach you how to live, and in a sea of all those games, you had this one game where you just played as a little robot dude. And I can understand why it won Game of the Year. Alright. For once, I see like an outlandish Game of the Year pick, and I'm like, you know what? I get it. I get it. So, what do you think? I think there have been more developments on this, but I haven't looked into this story since before I kind of went on break. So there's probably more developments into this, and as I catch up with the news, I might come back to this. All right, so something else that went down before I went on break. Marvel Rivals is not considering a role queue, no matter how annoying it is, to get rinsed by a team of 6 duelists. Boy, it's funny as a long-time Overwatch player watching Marvel Rivals quickly go through and realize the same issues that Overwatch players have realized for years now. So I will be talking more about Marvel Rivals because I'm playing the game more now. You know what I'm saying? Now that I'm pretty much done with my 6v6 video, alright, I'm moving on to Marvel Rivals. I didn't want to mindlessly hate on the game. Now I want real reasons to hate on it. But them not doing a role queue is very interesting because role queue arguably saved Overwatch. Alright, if you don't remember, role queue is the thing that actually stopped GOATs. Alright, and GOATs was a big meta in Overwatch. It took over Overwatch for like nearly a year. Alright, it was all over competitive Overwatch. It was all over the actual competitive ladder until you got down to certain, if you was playing like a silver gold game, like you're not playing GOATs. But if you're playing like plat, diamond above, like you're probably playing GOATs at some point. But basically it was 3 tanks and 3 supports. And the tanks with all their big health pools and the supports with all their healing, things just wouldn't die. It would take you would have to nuclear bomb something for it to die. And there was no room for DPS in this setup because, like, why would you go DPS when you can just go and just pick a tank and then not die, and then or pick a healer and make sure the tanks don't die? And the synergy was just way too good. So they created role queue to stop this from happening. You know what I'm saying? And it did. You have to have 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports. Now, the thing is, Riddler Khu also stopped some of the more creative team comps. Like, if you remember from the Overwatch League, one of the team comps that actually beat GOATs was like a unique team comp by the Chengdu Hunters, where they were able to basically just play their favorite, you know, their favorite familiar picks and just go hog wild. They pulled GOATs into the Chengdu zone. Boy, I miss Overwatch League so much, bro. It was crazy. And you couldn't really do stuff like that with Riddler Khu, you know. So that's one of the reasons why Marvel Rivals isn't doing it. They could also be doing this to differentiate themselves from Overwatch, because a lot of the people that are like, you know, freaking Marvel Rivals stands now are people who were against things like Riddler Khu. They were against things like 5v5. And so that's just the game they want to play, like the Wild Wild West hero shooter. But to be honest, I kind of think that a Riddler Khu, at least an option, would be nice, because it's just good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this way you don't get a team, because like, other than the GOAT situation, you know what I'm saying, one of the biggest problems with not having a Riddler Khu is getting a team of like DPS or duelists that don't want to switch, and nobody wants to play strategist, and nobody wants to play support or like Vanguard, you know what I'm saying? Like, which sucks, because it's like, then you feel like you have to do it, but you want to play freaking duelist like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? You know, you feel like freaking Rudolph, you left out all the reindeer games, because, you know, you got to be the one guy to actually do the job and play Vanguard, you know. Next thing you know, you're running out there playing Captain America because you play so much Reinhardt, that's the only thing you feel like you can play. Oh Lord, like, the Marvel Rivals experience has been it's been an experience, I can tell you that much. Personally, I don't think this is a good idea, but I understand why Marvel Rivals would do it, because it would differentiate them from Overwatch. Tell me what you think in the comments. Oh, we have Stealth. So this one's an interesting one. So Stealth comes up with this one. He says, Sonic 3 movie writers Pat Casey and Josh Miller said if they could adapt any other video game, it would be Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I remember always when we played Wind Waker, we were always like, man, I mean, it would probably be weird, but if they made a Zelda movie to start with Wind Waker versus the more classic Hyrule, but we both loved Wind Waker and it's so cinematic. Yeah, you know, so after they make this Zelda movie, I guess we're putting it out there in the world. Maybe we could do a Wind Waker spinoff. I'm gonna be honest, as like, Wind Waker is one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. All right, you know what I'm saying? It's right up there. It's getting challenged by Tears of the Kingdom right now. All right, but if I did a ranking of all the Zelda games, that it will definitely be S tier. Okay, top of the line. All right, so I think a Wind Waker movie would be interesting. Now, the problem is a Wind Waker movie would be better in the same vein as something like a Mario movie, like something animated, than something live action. Alright, I think it would kind of have to be animated. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I want to see a live action Wind Waker movie with like, with like Teen Link, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, Teen Zelda, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, I mean, I'd watch it, but doing an animated movie would be better. All right, you know, so doing an animated, stop motion Wind Waker movie, bruh, I watch that. Nintendo, if anybody from Nintendo's watching, stop motion Zelda movie, Wind Waker movie. Come on, y'all. We can make this happen. So we get into the leaks. All right, so we get into the leaks. We get into the hardcore leaks now. There's no more speculation. No more like, you know, 4chan, you know, family boards. Like, this is straight up leak territory. All right, the Chinese factory workers have entered the chat, so you know it's on now. So, Stealth drops more images of the Switch 2 Joycons have emerged from China, and so we see this is definitely a different type of Joy-Con than the regular one. It looks bigger than the OG Joy-Cons. And we also see that there is a special little place here that looks like an optical port. So optical ports are the ports at the bottom of your mouse. You know that the mouse, the mouse laser port. So a lot of people are speculating that maybe you could use this as a mouse, like PC ports, stuff like Civilization, stuff like RTS games, that are more attuned to point and click type of stuff. You can use it as kind of a mouse. Maybe there will be some sort of operation system, for the Switch 2, which I kind of doubt it. I don't know if Nintendo would go that deep into like PC stuff, But again, though, Nintendo does have a deal with Microsoft, so any type of PC-centric Microsoft games could be coming to the Switch. So that's a possibility. Another thing that would be amazing if there was some sort of Steam support on the Switch 2. Now, I don't think Steam would do this because technically Valve is a direct competitor to Nintendo, the Steam Deck versus the Switch or the Switch 2. But it would be amazing to be able to play Steam games on Switch. Can you imagine if the Switch 2 had Steam support? Like there's a Steam app on the Switch 2. Bro, the Switch would have the biggest and greatest library of games ever. Like, I mean, to be honest, all the games from Steam, you could play freaking Halo on the Switch 2 if they did that. Alright, you could play wait a minute, is Halo on Steam? I don't know. I might take that one back. You could definitely play PlayStation games. All right, you can play God of War. You can play daggone Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, bruh. If the Switch 2 has Steam support, that would be the greatest business deal Nintendo could ever do. I'm just gonna be honest. Do I think they do just from this port? No, but this is just me kind of going on flights of fancy. Just fly with your boy. It's all right, So the other thing is I couldn't find this front picture of the Joy-Con, but there is another picture where you get to see the C button. So the C button is the new button for the Switch 2 Joy-Con. We don't know what it does, but there are some possibilities. Some people are saying it's going to be like a TV mode where you can use the TV as your main screen and the Switch as a secondary screen, kind of like a Wii U controller. So this way they can do more Wii U ports and, more importantly, 3DS ports. Because I think 3DS is probably going to be a big part of what they do for the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. The other possibility is it could be some sort of recording feature, because now I remember a long time ago I did a video about Nintendo possibly doing some like VTuber like stuff with the Switch 2, allowing you to create like a VTuber avatar. So think like the next evolution of the Mii, right? You know what I'm saying? So you would create a Mii on Switch 2, and instead of just using that Mii in like Miiverse or something, or using it in like 123 Switch 2 or something stupid like that, you could actually create like a MiiTuber avatar, you know what I'm saying, that you can use to like stream and like record content with it, which would be interesting, you know what I'm saying? It would definitely be an interesting thing to do, and this could be something to that extent. Another thing that we see here is we see that there's an orange version of this Joy-Con out there, so we're gonna have different colors. Alright, and so there's gonna be different colors under the joystick and on the side panel. So that's kind of cool. It would be cool if these were LEDs, like they lit up or glowed or something. That would be really cool, but so far it looks like they're just different colors. So one's going to be orange, one's going to be blue. Now, is this going to be a whole set, or is it going to be like you get one blue one and one orange one? I don't know, but I'm intrigued though. We also get to the controversy going on here with the Switch 2. So he who shall not be named dropped this photo of the Switch 2, allegedly the Switch 2 motherboard. And so people saw this and was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be more on the weaker side. It's not going to be remotely as strong as the PS4 Pro. We got Omeg Turbo, Lord. He says it looks like 12 gigs of RAM at 448 GPS. The system on a chip should be faster than the PS4 Pro, but by at least 20%. DLSS will be available for it. I hope this one is optical because I hate how the quality goes down with it. And around 8 nm, so shouldn't be too expensive for us. So this one has been actually debunked a little bit because like right before I started recording, Digital Foundry dropped an article on this.
But no, I don't think it'll be as powerful as a PS4 Pro. I don't think it'll be quite there. I think ultimately, like, it will be probably a system that's more comparable to I would assume, a base last generation console. And I would also think that the way that it's going to be deployed is going to look very different to any of the last generation consoles or current generation consoles in terms of the upscaling technology that's used, in terms of the kinds of machine learning technologies that might be deployed in the device, in terms of the internal resolutions of those games, it'll all look very different. So I wouldn't really be too keen to necessarily draw direct comparisons to any particular piece of hardware there. But I think a lot is just going to depend on how good is DLSS here, operating from very low resolutions, upscaling content. We know it can be very good in PC, but is it a little bit lighter on the Switch? Because we know that DLSS is a fairly demanding process on this kind of variety of hardware here. And I think ultimately, if as a 1080p screen and a 4K output docked, I would expect that in a lot of cases you're going to be temporally upsampling to something that's lower than those resolutions, and you're going to be upscaling from there, a naive upscale from there, like a bilinear Langshos upscale. You need to calibrate your expectations properly and also probably accept a lot of 1440p to 4K upscales, even in less demanding software like Switch 1 software potentially, and that's something that I think if you actually see the results on screen, it's not that bad. And indeed, scaling 900p or 800p even to a 1080p panel, an 8-inch 1080p panel, doesn't necessarily look that bad. So yeah, I would really suggest caution here. I think it's nice they probably will have high resolution output support for those lower spec games, especially if they do have some specially optimized version of DLSS that can, let's say, upscale to 1440p or 4K in a manageable amount of time for this hardware. That's really a central question here. But yeah, I would pour cold water on the idea that this is going to be pulling off Red Dead Redemption 2 at 1440p 60 or something. It's we need to be measured about this stuff. I don't think.
So basically, what they're saying is the Switch might not be as powerful as everybody thinks it is. Now, this is something that we talked about, that people were talking about for a while. Every time Switch 2 rumors pop up, people say, "Oh, well, it's just going to be a Switch Pro." Which I think the original plans were to do that. I don't think that's what they're going to do now. I don't think this is just going to be a Switch Pro. I mean, just from listening to this, it sounds significantly more powerful than the Switch. If they were just doing a Pro, you look at the Pros that we have now, like PS4 Pro compared to PS4, it's not that big a leap in power. You can still play a PlayStation 4 game on the regular PlayStation and the PS4 Pro. They have to design it that way because otherwise they just might as well just design a whole new system. I don't think that's what this is. This is gonna be a significant leap forward, but it might not be handheld Xbox Series S leap forward. Okay. Basically, this thing is looking to not be as powerful as a RTX 3050, but still powerful though. And the thing is, more than likely, if this thing lands around PS4 Pro, maybe a little bit below PS4 Pro, DLSS will be able to kind of sort of make up for the loss in power. That's kind of the point, of DLSS being included with the system. To whereas it will make it look like some of the current day games on your Xbox Series S, something to that extent. So this way they can still run modern games on it, at least, at 30 frames per second. It might not run like it's on the PS5, but it's possible. The other thing is, as to why they did it this way, is price and battery life and cooling. You got to remember that these big graphics, onboard graphics devices, they need to be cooled. Okay, all right. So the last thing you want is a space heater in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that's the thing that you want to have. The other thing is price. This system kind of has to be between like $400 and $500. That's the sweet spot. Like $450 is like the sweet spot. All right. If it goes above $500, it gets a little dicey, especially in this economy. You know what I'm saying? And if you're talking like portable Xbox, you're talking like $600-700 system. And I don't think Nintendo really wants to do that. All right. Like, why would you pay $600 or $700 for a Switch when you could pay the same price and get a PS5 or an Xbox, Series X? You know what I'm saying? Or, you can buy a Steam Deck. Well, I think the Steam Deck might be a little bit more expensive than that. But, yeah, the thing is, price, battery life, and cooling are all things that you have to think about. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo's always been really good with battery life. All right, the Switch can play games, and it has a really good battery life. So, having a portable freaking, 30, 50 in your pocket is not, you're not going to be able to play it that long in portable mode. You know what I'm saying? So, they want at least maybe 5 to 6 hours of battery life. You're not going to get that with a RTX 3050, or something close to that. So, yeah. It looks like the Switch 2 might not be as powerful as we thought it is, but I don't think this is like a real, sound the alarms. This is Switch Pro. I don't think we're at that level yet, but all we can do is wait until the eventual reveal. All right. So that's about it for this. Tell me what you think down in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, people, keep it real and Happy New Year.